Do you remember 2013? Let me jog your memory. So, Gangnam Style was at its peak popularity. Pope Francis has just been elected, and iOS 7 just dropped. Now, I know what you're thinking. How does an Apple update even compare to those other things? Those were iconic. Well, the iOS 7 update was the biggest visual overhaul that Apple had given to date before this year. If you don't remember what iOS 6 was like, you will after I explain. The lock screen was still slide to unlock. The Photos app was still a photo of a sunflower. And we just had been introduced to Siri, that update. So think about how different your phone looks now. Well, that's the way that it's looked for a very long time. Until this past weekend. iOS 26 has rocked the user interface of Apple devices. We have never seen anything like this, and I am so excited to tell you about it. Please stick around so I can give you the lowdown, all of the cool features, and the things that got left out. Everything you need here on the Air 40 Forecast. On day one of Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, the company unveiled Liquid Glass, a complete visual redesign coming to iPhones, iPads, Macs, you name it. Now, this isn't just a new wallpaper or like rounder icons, okay? Liquid Glass is a dynamic, translucent interface inspired by Apple's Vision OS, which is the software powering the Vision Pro headset. I'm sure everyone has seen the AR headset, the glasses that people wear. It looks so silly, but they're so cool. And you'd be a liar if you said that you didn't want to try them. So that's the focus of what we're trying to do here, or what it sounds like Apple is trying to do. So basically, this new interface, it reacts to motion, it shifts with the lighting around you, and it creates this layered, semi-transparent environment that feels almost like your screen is made of glass that breathes. Buttons, menus, and panels all appear to float above your screen and respond as you move your device around, trying to blend this physical space with your digital flow. It's Apple's most dramatic visual change since 2013. Wow. And it's setting the tone for the future of this ecosystem. But Apple wasn't just changing how things look, they're also changing how they're numbered. So let's talk numbers. Apple confirmed it's breaking away from sequential versioning and jumping straight into iOS 26. Yes, 26, to align with the year after the OS is released, which is the operating system. So iOS 18 becomes iOS 26 because the iOS came out this year. Now, Mac OS 15 becomes Mac OS 26, and so on. Is it a branding flex? Maybe, but it also simplifies the yearly update cycle for users. So it's a win for developers, at least. Congratulations. So now let's address the not so cohesive part of the keynote, AI, or the lack of it. Apple's software lead opened the event with a bit of a letdown. The much anticipated AI overhaul of Siri, the Apple AI buzz that's been swarming social media, is still not ready. And Wall Street even noticed, literally 6 minutes into this keynote, after starting it off with that news, Apple stock dropped over 2.5%. It did recover a bit later, but the sting was real, the sting was felt, and hopefully they're able to pick it up on the next cycle, because that was very disappointing for investors and consumers alike. That being said, Apple did roll out some promising AI updates. First up, live translation. Apple's devices can now translate real-time conversations, whether by text or by phone, between two people speaking different language. So imagine watching the World Cup in 2026 and arguing with a friend in another country without a language barrier. That is a game changer for social interactions as well as business development. So for developers, Apple announced a new framework called Foundational Models. Now, this allows third-party apps to integrate AI features that run locally on your device. So that means that they are hosted on the phone. That means no constant cloud connection, faster performance, more privacy, plus no cloud computing costs for developers. Also, that means you can access AI without the internet. That's pretty significant. So here's the big picture. Apple's 2025 WWDC wasn't about keeping up with the AI arms race, okay? The AI moguls of the world are in this cold war that Apple wants nothing to do with. This was all about reclaiming control of its design identity and refining the user experience. Apple's going to compete in their own league. They're not going to compete where they don't compare. So they're going to play to their own strengths, which personally I think is very smart for them. They used this liquid glass, which signals that Apple is still obsessed with how things work. And now, just as importantly, how they feel. Sure, Siri's still lagging behind ChatGPT or Google Gemini, but Apple is clearly betting that tight local integration and a beautiful interface still matter, and they absolutely do. So let me hear your thoughts. Do you think Apple missed the mark? Or do you think that they've done everything that they can? Do you think the AI arms race is silly, or do you think Apple really missed an opportunity to outshine some of their competitors? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, but until next time, don't get lost, and if you do, you know where to find us.